deadly riots over the government's plan to avoid defaulting on its loans.
Is that the unemployment keeps rising, and it has to keep rising just because we have an excess supply of goods, which is
this is all borrowed money that our
and that debt is owned by banks in other countries.
It's going over wires. M-O-N-E-Y in the form of a convenient
filter cigarette that delivers the taste, and 45 malt liquor.
Are you hot?
Planning to bomb Iran.
Terror attacks in Iran.
And there's Army
A new consciousness is developing which sees the Earth as a single organism and recognizes that an organism at war with itself is doomed.
I was just born as a human being, and then I learned this whole business of who I am and whether I'm good or bad or achieving or not. All that's learned along the way, you know, and all they could see were the problems and the fears of society, but none of the potential, none of the positive questions about what is man to do next. They're not even interested in that. They are so committed to the fact that this society is the way it is, and that's all you can expect. And that's what I'd call vested interest in the ongoing game. And if you have vested interest in the ongoing game, you are frightened by anything that might change it. Look, we now know there is enough to go around, all right? In other words, if we could truly collaborate with our fellow man, there would be enough to go around for the world. But none of us can break through our own models of the way the game goes enough to do the things necessary to bring about that realization. And it's only when there is enough that we can become back to we, both of us as subject, and experience the unity when we are truly collaborative about our resources. Man has come out of the jungle where there wasn't enough, and where he fought for it, and he built a whole ethic around not having enough. And now to be able to really shift that ethic is a very, you know, and the whole motivational pattern connected with it is a very difficult thing for him to do.
This isn't a conspiracy theory type of thing. These people don't have to get together and plot to do things. They all basically work under one primary assumption, and that is that they must maximize profits regardless of the social and environmental costs.
You have built-in corruption. We're all chiseling off each other, and you can't expect decency in that sort of thing.
As the inequality grows, naturally, more and more people are becoming desperate. The fact is, the selfish, corrupt, power, and profit-based groups are not the true source of the problem. They are symptoms.
War, poverty, corruption, hunger, misery, human suffering will not change in a monetary system. That is, there'll be very little significant change. It's going to take the redesign of our culture, our values, and it has to be related to the carrying capacity of the earth, not some human opinion or some politician's notions of the way the world ought to be. Project is not about new cities or new architecture, it's about a way of thinking. The in-group will do all it can to stay in power, and that's what you got to keep in mind. They'll use the Army and Navy and the lives or whatever they have to use to keep in power. They're not about to give it up because they don't know of any other system that will perpetuate their kind.
one planet.
The choice lies with you. We have the brains, the know-how, the technology, and the feasibility to build an entirely new civilization.
We were hunters and foragers. The frontier was everywhere. We were bounded only by the earth and the ocean and the sky. The open road still softly calls. Our little terraqueous globe is the madhouse of those 100,000 millions of worlds. We who cannot even put our own planetary home in order, riven with rivalries and hatreds, are we to venture out into space? By the time we're ready to settle even the nearest other planetary systems, we will have changed. The simple passage of so many generations will have changed us. Necessity will have changed us. We're an adaptable species. It will not be we who reach Alpha Centauri and the other nearby stars. It will be a species very like us, but with more of our strengths and fewer of our weaknesses. More confident, far-seeing, capable, and prudent. For all our failings, despite our limitations and fallibilities, we humans are capable of greatness. What new wonders, undreamt of in our time, will we have wrought in another generation, and another? How far will our nomadic species have wandered by the end of the next century, and the next millennium? Our remote descendants, safely arrayed on many worlds through the solar system and beyond, will be unified by their common heritage, by their regard for their home planet, and by the knowledge that whatever other life may be, the only humans in all the universe come from Earth. They will gaze up and strain to find the blue dot in their skies. They will marvel at how vulnerable the repository of all our potential once was, how perilous our infancy, how humble our beginnings, how many rivers we had to cross before we found our way.